What's going on YouTube? So even though people are increasingly choosing crossovers over sedans, there's still a large population of people who are looking for affordable cars. One of the long-time entries is this Sentra. And for 2022, Nissan is enhancing things with the addition of a new Midnight Edition model and more. We've been testing this Sentra for the last week. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see how it stacks up against the rivals. So this is a pretty fresh model for the Nissan lineup, and as such, we're not going to see any gigantic changes to the exterior aesthetic, but there is something I want to talk about. First and foremost, take a look here at your grille. This is the signature Nissan V-Motion grille. Has a nice stylish look, goes down all the way into the lower fascia. And if you choose the SR trim level, that's going to give you a smoked chrome around the outside edge instead of the full-on shiny chrome. However, time for the new stuff for 2022. We have a Midnight Edition. So just like with other Nissan products, the Midnight Edition is going to black out a lot of elements on the exterior, including the grille, which will switch to a full gloss black. Now let's come over here and talk about the headlights. So you've got three different headlight arrangements on the Sentra. It's going to be halogen for S and SV trim levels. However, when you get to the SR, you're going to have LED reflector beams. You'll notice that's actually not what we have, because when you get the SR Premium, you get further upgraded to the projector style full LED lights, including the daytime running light and the turn signal. Additionally, SR trim levels will throw in the LED fog lamps. Next up, let's go ahead and take a look at our wheel options. So you're gonna, of course, come standard with some pretty basic looking steel wheels on your base model. However, when you get up to the SR trim level, that's where you'll get 18-inch alloy wheels. Now, one of the interesting things about this example is we don't have the SR Midnight Edition, but we actually, through a standalone option, have the upgraded 18-inch full gloss black alloys that you would get with the SR Midnight Edition. As you can see, it has a different design. It's going to be 5 spokes for a kind of a cleaner, simpler look, and like I said, finished in the full gloss black. I am noticing that none of the Nissan badges anywhere on the vehicle are updated to the newest version of their logo, like in the new Rogue we recently reviewed. And then coming up here to our mirrors, they are going to be finished in a gloss black to match the contrast roof that Mason will speak about in just a little bit. And we do have standard blind spot monitoring on all the models, heating on all but the base model.
All right, guys, so let's talk about the length of the Nissan Sentra. So we're looking at 182.7 inches in overall length for the Nissan Sentra, which of course places this as a good size for the segment of vehicle. However, I do want to point out some styling stuff at the side, because as you've probably seen from the front and kind of looking a little bit at the side, this is a stylish offering. And part of the reason why this is so stylish is because we do have that two-tone floating roof design. You can get the blacked out roof for the SR model. So if you go for an SR, the more sporty trim level, you can get that extra touch. And also with the SR Midnight, you have 3 different exterior colors that you can pair with this blacked out roof. Now, making our way around to the rear design of the Sentra, since this is a pretty new product, there are going to be no changes in terms of the overall design. And honestly, I think that's a good thing. This is probably one of my favorite Nissan sedans in the lineup. I think it just has a really cool and aggressive look to it. I think this actually looks better than the Altima, if you ask me. Now, let's break down some of the design touches for that. So since we do have the SR, we get this lip spoiler up top. If we go for the SR Midnight trim level, that will have a blacked out spoiler. Then if we look at our taillights, these are going to be a nice design. I like the shaping of them. However, they are going to be fully incandescent. Even on this high-end model right here, you cannot get LED on any of them. And then dropping down to your lower area, this is going to be the SR's aggressive diffuser. As you can see, it has all this gray painted material here, and I really like the aggressive look. We're also going to have an exposed exhaust outlet for the SR models on the left side. Now it's time to talk about some very important things when you're looking to buy within the segment, the warranty as well as the safety information. Now, for your safety systems, let's go ahead and start there. You are going to have actually the vast majority of them standard on every single Sentra, so that's a really impressive touch. So that's going to include forward emergency braking, lane departure warning. So Notice I said warning there, this is not the active lane keep assist. That is actually not available on the Sentra. You're also going to have auto high beam headlamps as well as rear auto braking. Those are all standard equipment. However, if you want adaptive cruise control, you will have to go for at least the SV trim level. Now, as far as your warranty information, you have a 3-year 36,000 mile basic warranty, 5-year 60,000 mile powertrain warranty, and Nissan does not do any complimentary maintenance. Now, of course, that wraps up the outside design of the Sentra. This is a very stylish offering for this segment, but now let's go ahead and check out the interior and see how practical it is.
So heading up to this Sentra, you will find a smart entry system standard on the SV trim level and up. We also have the remote start system that is optional on the SV model via the new weather package or standard on the SR we have today. Now to get inside, there's not a sensor behind the handle, so press the button to unlock the door. Of course, this is a pretty new model, so you're not going to notice any substantial design changes to the interior. But we'll go ahead and talk about our different color and material choices straight from the start here. So Nissan actually keeps this pretty simple. You have standard across all of the trim levels, black cloth seats. That is it. However, you do have some additional options. So what we have in this example today is the SR with the premium package. That's going to throw in these faux leather seats with the orange stitching. As you can see, they are pretty nice looking. I like the accenting there. Of course, zero gravity seats, so they are very, very comfortable. And additionally, if you get the SV with the premium package, that will continue to be offered with those fancy quilted leather seats that come in the special tan color. Now, speaking of the seats, most of the seats are going to be manual adjusting, but if you add the premium package to the SR, that's going to add these 8-way power adjusting seats that we have today with 2-way lumbar support. And then let's go ahead and take a look at our materials. I am very happy with the way that Nissan has finished the cabin. As you can see, we do have a nice leatherette material all through this armrest and center part of the door trim with the stitching detail. We have a high quality soft touch plastic along the top. And then as we go to the main part of the dash, this is all finished in a soft touch plastic with the double color contrast stitching details. Nice vent detailing through there. And then even down here along the console, again, we have more leatherette with the stitching details. And everything is very solidly put together. Now to start out the Sentra, put your foot on the brake and press the button. Now, as far as the gauges, these should look pretty familiar to you if you're familiar with Nissan products. It's basically their signature gauge cluster design with the analog gauges and then the large 7-inch multifunction display right there in the middle. This is actually included on all but the base model, which will have a smaller multifunction display. And as we pull back here to the steering wheel, I always like that Nissan includes the cool flat bottom steering wheels on the Sentra models. It's going to be leather wrapped on all but the base model as well, and I do like the color contrast stitching. As far as the wheel itself, of course, it'll be manual adjusting, and we do actually have steering wheel heating on this SR premium package, which is a pretty rare feature in this segment. But let's go ahead and move into interior storage next. So we'll start out underneath our center console. Looking inside here, we actually have a very deep bin. I'm impressed by how wide this is and how far down this goes. As you can see right now, I've got my sunglasses in there, and even when we bust out our coupons, with those objects in there, we still have plenty of room to spare. We also have the optional ambient lighting for the exterior as well as the interior in here, and you can adjust the colors and turn that on and off right there. The other spot where that lighting occurs is inside of this the cup holders there. And then up in the front, we do have a nice area for your phone to set with a rubber pad. It is not a wireless phone charger though. And then we've got a USB Type-C, USB-A, aux jack, and a 12-volt outlet. Now as we pull back here to the shifter, this is just a traditional style shifter, so nothing complicated here. Pull back for drive, you can go back again for low. and then we'll head into reverse next. And you might be surprised as to see a 360-degree camera system pop up. This is another one of those features that's reserved for this fully loaded SR with premium package, and a very rare feature to find in this class, of course. It does have the moving object detection. We do also have the rear parking sensors as well. And then the other models, those are going to come standard with a regular backup camera with active trajectory. And then back behind the shifter, even though it looks like there's a place where it should be, the Sentra is not available with an electronic parking brake, so you will have to use the foot activated style. Now let's move on up the console here to our climate controls. As you can see, the upper end models do come with this dual zone automatic climate control setup. Very easy to use, nice clicky knobs here to adjust your temperature, and you have physical controls all through here. Additionally, we do have the heated seats on board. That's part of the SR Premium or the SV Premium packages, and then that's the heated steering wheel I was already mentioned. And now let's go ahead and come up here to our audio systems. So as you expect for a vehicle in this segment, you do have a series of different audio systems you can pick between. It's going to be 4 speakers on the base model, 6 speakers standard on SV and SR. However, the SR with Premium package has a Bose 8-speaker premium sound system. So let's go ahead and give that a sample. Yeah, so overall sound quality is very good, actually. This is one of the best sound systems I have heard in a vehicle in this segment. Definitely right up there with the sound systems you get from the Mazda 3 as well as the new Civic. Alright, but let's go ahead and talk about the display. So you do have a standard 7-inch display, but that's only on the base model. All the rest of them get the 8-inch display, which we are looking at right now. As you can tell, we do have some physical controls down here along the bottom, as well as our physical volume and tune knobs. And then inside of the infotainment system itself, it is that typical Nissan Connect system. You've got the little widgets that you can scroll between, as well as your list of applications. And then of course, what you probably really want to know about, does it have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto? Yes, it does. It has both of those. They are available. It is a wired connection though, not wireless. Up top here, we do have a manual dimming mirror, sunglass holder. The lighting is going to be incandescent though. Then I'll slide back the moonroof here. This is going to be included when you choose the SR Premium or the SV Premium.
Well, come on back here and sit with me in the Nissan Sentra's rear area. And, you know, really the first thing that I noticed sitting back here is just how spacious this rear seat is. You honestly would not expect this big of a rear seat in something in this segment. We're looking at 37.4 inches of rear legroom, 36.7 inches of headroom, And as far as as you can see, I'm 5'9". This is Drew's seating position. I'm looking at probably 4 inches or so of rear legroom. My feet can easily slide up underneath of the seat. So there is really quite a lot of space back here. And, you know, it is worth noting that's right in line with the biggest options in this segment, like the Honda Civic, the Toyota Corolla. And also, it's actually worth noting, it's larger than the Nissan Altima spec-wise. So that's pretty interesting fun fact for you. Now, as far as the feature set, here in the middle, you're not going to have anything too special. You wouldn't really expect that, but we do have a USB port. That's going to actually be standard on every single Sentra model. If we look at the armrest here, you do have a fold-down one. It's very nice and comfortable. You also have cup holders inside, and then look at your door trim. Of course, the top part is going to be hard-touch plastic, not like the front, but we do have a nice leatherette through all the middle part, and we also have a bottle holder in the bottom. Now, coming up to the cargo area, they have nicely integrated a handle under there. You just push that button and it pops right open. Then as far as the space itself is concerned, we're looking at 14.3 cubic feet of cargo capacity in the rear area of the Sentra, which does place it as one of the largest offerings in the segment once again. So the space figure for the Sentra is really something worth noting because it has a lot of space for the segment. That is right in line with the Toyota Corolla. However, it's just a tiny bit less than the Honda Civic, which is typically the biggest one in the segment. Now, as far as the finishings are concerned, we do have a really nice carpeting along the floor. As you can see, we have these nice Sentra floor mats. I also want to point out that you can fold the seats 60-40 split. However, there is not a handle here in the back to do that, so you will have to go up to the second row itself and actually fold it there. If we lift it up, you will find a spare tire though, and there is not a handle here to shut it. Now for your passenger seat, it is going to be manually adjusting, as you would expect, and let's check out our glove box. If we pop that baby open, you'll notice we got plenty of space for our coupons. As you can see, they slide right in there. There is no problem whatsoever. Then up top, here's your sun visor. You do have a mirror. You also have lighting. That is actually included optionally with the premium package on the SR. And then we can also detach the visor as well as extend it out. Alright, and there is up to 60 miles per hour in the 2022 Nissan Sentra. Now, what's the engine like in the Sentra? Well, you're going to have a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, as do a lot of the rivals within this segment. That's pretty much a standard affair, and in this particular powertrain combination is making 149 horsepower, 146 pound-feet of torque, which, as you can see through that acceleration there, does give you adequate power. I mean, nothing in this segment is going to knock your socks off in its standard configuration, but you know, it's perfectly fine. And one thing that you probably noticed through there is that even though we do have a CVT, I'll mention that a little later, it did do the shift simulation, which does make it feel like it's going a little bit faster even though it has that CVT.
One of the things Mason and I noticed over the last week was kind of the feel when you're around town. I think that's more important than even like out here on the highway like we are now. That kind of spunkiness around town, the way that Nissan has tuned everything, it does feel like you get off the line quite quickly.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because when I first got in the car, I was expecting to have to press the gas down a lot more to get going, and it really is so responsive at the very front end. I was tapping the brakes all the time because I catch up with the flow of traffic. So, you know, they have done a really good job of making the most of the power on board and making sure it feels plenty spunky enough around the city, which is exactly what they needed to do.
Right, and of course that's a combination of how they tune the throttle response as well as that continuously variable transmission.
Alright, and as I accelerate here, pay attention to the shift simulation here. So, of course, we do have a CVT on board. You probably already knew that, but honestly, I'd say to the average person, if you really didn't know what a CVT was, I honestly don't think you would really know much or experience that, because it does a really good job. If you have heavy throttle, it does go ahead and do that simulation for you. So I really have no complaints when it comes to the transmission. As we mentioned previously, it does have a really good tuning around the town.
Nissan's been doing CVTs for a long time, you know. Of course, they took flack for that for a long time as well, but I think they've really gotten the tuning right with this latest generation and their latest products.
But now we're up to cruising speed on a highway, and I think this is really the more important aspect to talk about rather than driving dynamics or any type of engine information, is just the ride quality. What can you expect out of the Sentra? And certainly I've been very impressed with it. We've driven it actually quite a bit so far, and I'm honestly really impressed. This almost feels like a class above in terms of its ride quality and just overall comfort. This is impressively quiet, which we'll get a sound level reading in just a second, and the ride quality particularly, we went over some big bumps going back through there, as well as we'll go through in just a second, and it soaks them up quite well. Also, the seats can't hurt it at all.
Yeah, the seats are great. It's very solid feeling and well put together. Go ahead and grab this sound level sample here once Mason gets to the right speed.
Okay. 55 now.
Okay, looks like we're at 58.4. Mason was switching the speeds around a little bit there.
Yeah, well, it's very windy outside, and also I'm going up a hill, so.
But that's a pretty good reading for this class. You can probably hear it's very windy today, as it seems to have been all the days recently we've been filming.
Yeah, weather has not been cooperating too much with us.
So of course gas prices right now are costing you an arm and a leg, so let's go ahead and talk about fuel economy for this Sentra, very important aspect. So the EPA ratings for the S and the SV trim level is 29, 39, 33 combined. Here on the SR, we're going to lose just a little bit of that fuel economy because we do have the more stylish model. That's 28 city, 37 highway, 32 combined. Very, very similar to what you get in Corolla and Civic. And Mason can scroll over and tell you what we've been getting so far this week.
We're averaging 36.4 miles a gallon, and let me tell you, that's actually mixed driving. That's not just highway or anything. We did do some highway driving today, but a lot of that was city driving. This is just a very efficient vehicle, and that's certainly something that people in this segment are looking for. 36 miles a gallon is very impressive.
Absolutely. I will say the one thing, I say this about quite a bit of cars, especially now that fuel prices cost so much, we don't have a hybrid offering with the Sentra, so I feel like we definitely could have Nissan add a hybrid offering, and it would benefit this model greatly. Let's go ahead and talk about today's Airball and Slam Dunk. As a very solid offering in this segment, over the week I've had surprisingly little to complain about. One of the little things, though, that definitely all the competition has that I'm aware of, the electronic parking brake. Why don't we have that on this Sentra? I'm not sure. There's even the hole, like I was mentioning, in the interior. There's even a space for it, but we still don't have it. So that disappoints me because it does get rid of auto brake hold, for instance.
That's important, for me at least. Now, as far as our Slam Dunk, I think the really overarching thing for me about this Sentra is that it looks really freaking good. This has got to be one of the best looking options in the segment. I mean, we're looking at tough competition. I still think that this is one of the best looking. I love the two-tone roof. We got the blacked out wheels on this one. You have that new SR Midnight Edition that blacks out even more elements, and just overall, I think the proportions look better than the Nissan Altima, and maybe even better than the Maxima. So,
yeah, if you're one of those people that were complaining that the Civic has gotten too boring, then this is the model for you. And last but certainly not least, here on this drive, we have the pricing information. Of course, cars are getting very, very expensive these days, and this is still a nice and affordable sedan, thankfully. So the S is going to start off you at $19,610, SV $20,670, and then the SR, like we have today, starts at $22,200. Now, if you choose the Midnight Edition, that's going to bump the price up very little, actually. You're only going to go up to $22,895, so it's a very inexpensive package, but you can't pair that with the premium package like we have today, so you will not have the availability to get these extra goodies that we have inside the cabin. Speaking of those extra goodies, so with that premium package, those extra cost alloy wheels, as well as a few accessories like the ambient lighting, we're looking at an as-tested price of $27,615, very much on the competitive end of the segment.
Yeah, so guys, what do we think overall about the 2022 Nissan Sentra? Well, To be honest with you guys, this is probably one of the very best options within the segment. I mean, we are looking at stiff competition. Like I said before, you got the all-new Honda Civic that just came out in 2022. You got the all-new Elantra that came out in 21. Refreshed Kia Forte. It's a very hot segment, and I think that this still remains as one of the very top offerings within the segment. It just is overall a very good product. It has a lot of space, a lot of luxury, and particularly, I think if you get one less optioned than this one, I think a lower end SR model is really the sweet spot, because you get a lot of value thrown in even over the competition when you go for that trim level. Well guys, that wraps up our in-depth review of the 20... Well guys, that wraps up our in-depth review of the 2022 Nissan Sentra SR. If you made it this far in our video, I hope that means you enjoyed watching or just like cars in general. And in both of those circumstances, we would really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button down below and help us reach our subscriber goals, because the more subscribers we have, the better cars we get to show you all. So it's really kind of a circular thing. So please subscribe down below. Also follow us on TikTok and Instagram, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.